right. Well, first question I have, thank you guys for joining,
Thanks
uh,
for having us. Yeah.
is well, to introduce yourselves a little bit. And what do you guys do at GrowthTribe, and how come you talk about word of mouth with GrowthTribe?
You can.
Start with the introduction.
Yeah, I can start with my boring introduction. I'm gonna make it very short, but I always say it in my courses, so I'm not gonna bore you. So yeah, I've been at GrowthTribe for the past 3 years and a half. So my background is more technical. I studied computer science, but I hated coding, so I switched to marketing. So that's it in a nutshell. That's it in a nutshell. And yeah, in the past few years at GrowthTribe, we've been training startups, scale ups, big corporates on how to experiment, how to adopt the growth mindset. Yeah, that's more or less it. So we've been seeing lots of use cases in the past 3 years and a half, which is the best part of our job, is that we get paid to learn, I feel like, which is nice. And yeah, if you want to learn more about me, you can always check my LinkedIn. I don't want to bore you, but that's me in a nutshell.
Awesome.
He's thriving on TikTok nowadays,
Yeah.
and
I'll make sure to include that in the description and everything.
Yeah,
absolutely.
fun fact, I'm followed by Paris Hilton now.
Yeah, that's a good,
Very random. I only have 50 followers. One of them is Paris Hilton. It's
That
so
is
fun.
quite the milestone.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest achievement.
Yeah.
It's gonna be on my CV for sure.
And you, Alan?
Cool. And yeah, short introduction for me as well. So I have about like 9 years and a half of experience now with everything regarding social media marketing, SEO, content marketing. I have like some experience in customer support as well. That's where I built a lot of patience. And for the past 2.5 years, I've also been um, focused on growth marketing in general, and at my role in Growth Tribe. And it's been like a great learning journey, getting to talk to a lot of people from so many different backgrounds regarding kind of the same things when it comes to the pilot funnel, the customer journey, and of course the referral stage that I think we're going to focus on today. And word of mouth in general is a huge factor when it comes to the referral stage. And I think we have also a lot of the people who take our courses are being referred by their network or other people who have already taken our courses. So it's definitely a big thing. And yeah, looking forward to our chat today.
Nice, nice. And
Yeah.
so I guess you both now are like some sort of educators at a Growth Tribe. You help people learn more about growth.
Yeah.
What kind of people usually attend your classes, your lectures?
Uh, it could be like it could be a manager who wants to understand like what frameworks they need to teach their team. It could be the execution team who have to run the experiment themselves. It could be someone who just want to learn about marketing. They're just changing or shifting their careers. So we see a variety of people and joining the courses. But I would say these are the top three like personas: manager, people who are part of the execution team, and people who just want to learn about marketing and get started.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You have all the spectrum.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure. Like you always have a specific job to be done, if you like, if you want to go into the technical terms. But if we want to group them into the top three, it's exactly what Tariq said. But it's really nice to see that the growth marketing is kind of picking up. It's becoming more popular nowadays, and just a lot more people are adopting the mindset that yeah, growth is at the basis of how you run a business or how you actually get the results that you want to get.
I see. And the companies you've worked for, like in your experience so far, or the companies of your let's say students, when it's time to approach growth and you think about word of mouth, um, do you base your judgment if you're gonna apply word of mouth based on the industry? So, like, would you rather have word of mouth for B2B, for B2C? So when you suggest, when you talk about growth marketing, when and what, with what criteria do you fit word of mouth?
yeah, yeah, for sure. It depends on the industry, on the company, on the audience. For example, for e-commerce, it maybe makes sense to give them an incentive to refer another person. So you get $20 gift card, or the other person gets $20 gift card. For B2B, maybe offering money incentive doesn't work. For B2B, maybe they have to use organic referrals. So they have to find a way to push their customers to end up referring other people without them knowing. It could be through content marketing. It could be by adding a watermark on their platforms. So definitely it depends on the industry and also on the budget, because if you want to go with paid virality, you'd have to, of course, offer an incentive. So do you have the money to offer this big gift, for example? Do you have the money to promote this referral program, on social media? If not, okay, how many users do you have? Does it make sense to go with organic virality? Do you think it's going to have a big effect? So depending on the company, the industry, the audience, then of course our advice would be different. And that's why in our courses we give them like different examples about different industries, paid virality, organic virality, and it's up to them to see which one makes more sense to their business.
Yeah, totally agree with that. If I can add something, it would be like the type of the industry. Sometimes, of course, they could use both paid and organic ways or factors in virality. But for example, with B2B and consultancy in general, and this is what we focus on when we talk about the growth loops, is that you have to embed quality into the product itself, so the product can talk on your behalf. It can like show the positives of working with you as a consultant, for example, or as a business if other businesses are looking at it. So word of mouth definitely is a big factor in consultancy, maybe less of a factor in e-commerce. So yeah.
I see. And the campaigns, let's say, what industry have you seen to be the most effective place to do organic word of mouth? Let's start with that.
Good question. Organic. Not industry, but I would say for B2B and overall is better than B2C, because in B2B they rely more on content marketing. So if you go online, there's lots of reports, like end of the year report about this industry, benchmark, conversion rate benchmark by unbounds, for example. And these reports, sometimes get shared a lot because it's insightful, right? So when you think about word of mouth for B2B, you're not just promoting the product, you're offering value to the audience. So here's what we learned in this year. We're going to share that with you. Here's our playbook. So if I take GrowthTribe, we can create, I don't know, a big blog article about 20 experiments that worked for us, and we share it with you. So it's valuable for the audience, even though we don't mention our product. But since it's being shared around, they are sharing our URL, they are sharing our brand name, they are sharing, some links to our courses. Maybe we put it on the website. So by doing so, we get more word of mouth. So word of mouth is not just about the product, it's offering value to the audience. And then when it's being shared, it gives you more eyeballs on your website and on your content. And for me, I think, content marketing has the biggest way to increase word of mouth.
Yeah, absolutely. I like this reminds me of engineered marketing tools. And how, for example, the acquisition stage is totally linked with the referral stage and how it could affect it. So creating an engineered marketing tool can definitely help with that by offering that value and just focusing on what the customers or potential customers will get out of this tool. One example that I always share is the website fast.com that checks your internet speed, and then and in the bottom right side of the page, there's the powered by Netflix logo that is clickable, and I'm sure this is also organically taking a lot of those users to Netflix. So that's also a B2C example.
All right, now on the organic growth part, it's amazing, and it feels like it's perhaps the biggest growth factor for many companies. However, it's very, very hard to track. If not impossible. I guess the Netflix thing, it's perhaps they track the clicks. But how do you, if you're a company, how can you know that you're succeeding or failing on your organic word of mouth?
I think you have to just ask your customers, like in a survey, how did you hear about us? So we do this at GrowthTribe every course. When you finish it, first question, what's your name? Second question, how did you hear about us? And social media or email through a friend. And yeah, it's not maybe 100% accurate. You cannot really understand like how they heard it and in which context, but at least you can understand if it came through a friend or social media. And then based on these survey responses, you can start to analyze, how word of mouth is going. Is it going well or not? If you're using organic virality, like I say, you have a watermark, as you mentioned for Netflix example, they might have a UTM tag on these links, and they can track on GA4, okay, how many clicks. But organic word of mouth of a person referring another friend to take this course or to take this product, then I think the best way is through a survey.
Yeah, I think qualitative data and surveys will have a higher impact and will be of a higher importance, let's say, when it comes to analyzing that data and where you're getting your traffic from and all of that. But also, when we want to talk about quantitative data and how do we track the numbers and all of that, I would say that we can also look at correlation instead of causation. So running an experiment that is hard to track when it comes to quantitative data, we could also look at how it's maybe impacting other sides of, let's say, visitors or acquisition or even activation, all the way down to revenue. So there are ways. It's, as Tariq said, it's not going to be 100% accurate, but there definitely are ways that can lead you into the right analysis.
I see. And when you're like a manager, perhaps one of your students, where do people usually consider word of mouth as a growth channel to invest in? Is that something you recommend? Because of that uncertainty that you cannot track it, I guess it's very hard for managers to say, let's invest in word of mouth.
Yeah, I would say word of mouth will come naturally to the business itself once quality is embedded into the product. I'll reshare the example that I started with, that maybe 30 or 40% of people who take our courses are being referred by their network. So that's a huge number. So as long as the product is offering quality and offering value to the customers, those customers will find like-minded people in their network that they will share their experience with. So absolutely worth investing in word of mouth, and with the product itself, within the product itself. Just focus on the quality, and then word of mouth will come with that.
Yeah, 100%. Because we mentioned this in our courses. So if you look at the customer journey, yeah, you have awareness, which is to hopefully attract new customers. And then you have activation, which is when they experience the value of the product. And activation is linked to retention and referrals, because when someone experience and understand the value of the product, there's a high chance they're going to keep coming back and use it, and a higher chance they're going to end up, recommending that product to their friends. So you can say like activation is linked to, and it affects the other two stages. So as Adam mentioned, by making sure you have a good product, hopefully there's a good chance that people will come back, they're gonna be retained, and hopefully refer other people. And of course, you can do few experiments to push them to refer these other people, but you have to make sure that they're enjoying the product. I'm not gonna push you to refer us if you're having a bad time. So that's why making sure that you have a good quality product is step number one before you start, doing these small experiments to influence people to take, to recommend this product. Yeah.
Also, like a really cool example that just comes to mind anytime we talk about word of mouth, ChatGPT. It's just hit 10 million in 2 months. I mean, and I'm sure it's not because they advertised it. I'm sure it's not because they they have a referral or growth loop within the product itself. It's just because it's such an amazing product that people everywhere are talking about it, and it's picking up like crazy, like never before. So yeah.
Yeah, must be the best word of mouth case study so far.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. And now, when does it make sense to go with incentivized virality, incentivized referrals, like paid referrals or whatever, like a proper referral program? Where do you draw the line of, well, or natural word of mouth is not enough, or how do you go about that?
Well, like,
intent and discovery.
yeah, and plus, like, you don't have to choose one of the two. You can do the two together, right? Right. One does not replace the other.
Mhm.
So the main difference, like, if you want to rely on incentivizing your audience, you might get one peak of customers. Like maybe in 1 month, you're gonna see like, okay, we got so many customers from that referral program, and then for the next 3 months, you see there's a drop. Like the referral program is not as efficient as the first few weeks. But meanwhile, on the other side, in parallel, you have this organic, program that's running, and it's growing and growing. So it's gonna keep growing, like, like a snowball effect. So the more people end up joining taking, your product or using it, the more customers they're gonna refer. So it's get bigger and bigger and bigger. So I would recommend doing both if it's possible for the company. Maybe for a company, depending on the product, referral program makes more sense than organic. Maybe it's the other way around, but you can experiment with both, I would say. So one is the responsibility of the awareness team, because they have to create the referral program, they have to come up with the incentive and promote it. And in the meantime, the product team is making sure that we have a good product. They are making sure maybe to add few features that would increase organic virality. So depending on how big the team is, if they can do both at the same time, we can do both at the same time. If you're a very small startup, I think you want lots of customers at the beginning, and organic virality takes some time for it to see any results. So maybe it makes more sense to focus on artificial, because you're going to get customers quicker. But if you have the time, the budget, and the team, you can do both.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's my take on
I
it.
don't think I can add much to that.
I think that's a big part of the growth mindset that well, it's not only the marketing team that is responsible for growth anymore. It's also the product team
Yeah,
is very much part of the marketing team.
of course.
It's like the essential part, if I may say. The marketing team will just take what the product team has built, and then understand it as best as possible, and then try their best to market it. But
Mhm.
it's embedding things within the product is the starting point of virality, especially organic.
Mhm.
Exactly, and even like the marketing team, they gather that data from customers, what they like, what they dislike, and they can take that data to the product team to improve even the product even more. So like they both should work together, because they're gonna both benefit from the data that they have.
Yeah.
So it's a win-win for both. So definitely alignment between the two is essential.
Nice. Now, product teams, or like perhaps the developer teams, if we're thinking about a software product program, are like notorious for being angry with marketing, saying, "Oh, what is marketing asking us again to build a website or whatever?"
Yeah.
How can you get the product team to care about and think about the marketing? Of course, they care because they're in the same company, but
Yeah.
how do you get them to take action and start thinking about the little virality features you said?
And yeah, that's I've suffered from that before in previous jobs, and I could also say that it's vice versa. It's also the marketing team not getting a lot of collaboration from the product team, and so on. But the best way that we could get everyone to collaborate together is, first of all, by creating that growth team, by making sure that someone from every department is on board with what everyone else in other departments is doing. And when you have a growth team, it breaks down silos, it breaks down some of the politics that are involved in every company, and then it shows every team how important their contribution is.
Mhm.
And it has to also like show the results of everyone's work, especially when you start getting those wins after one experiment and after all the experiments that are being run. So focusing on the mindset itself, making sure that everyone is educated on the growth mindset and what it means in terms of experimentation, and how important everyone's role is within the company and within the growth team, I think is the starting point to collaboration when it comes to different departments. And also, there are so many things in between, like making sure that you don't step on anyone's toes in different departments, and making sure that you don't tell everyone else what needs to be done just because you're the boss or whatever. So it's all about making sure that the collaboration is there, and then the results will come, and everyone will feel like, okay, these results are mainly because of what I've contributed. So yeah.
Yeah, and just to add to that, like when I describe the relationship between the marketing team and the product team, like it's complicated, like a Facebook relationship status. And I think what makes it easier today in 2023, there's so many no-code tools and low-code tools out there today that will make you get started by yourself as a marketing team, which means you don't have to wait for the product team and the IT team to do things for you. You can get started with a no-code tool. You build it at a small scale, you test it out, and once you have data that shows that this could work, then you go to the product team, the IT team, like, hey guys, we did this at a small scale. It's working. Now we need your help to take it to the next level. So we say that the no-code tools now are like the marriage counselor for the relationship between these two teams. But yeah, I would rely a lot also on no-code, low-code tools, learn how to use them. They are so easy, and get started. And then, as Aaron mentioned, share the data, the wins with the team, and now they're going to be more convinced. Data levels or arguments, basically. Yeah.
Nice. I love the experimentation first approach that you have at everything.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So let's say that you're the marketing team at a company, and you want to build the incentivized referral, and you set up a no-code tool to do that. How long would you wait to have some sort of proof that this thing can have results?
It depends a lot on the experiment itself, but if let's say it's a quick win shouldn't take more than I would say 2 weeks to start bringing us significant data or data that we can rely on, and from there on, you won't be taking time from the next experiment, and you will just focus on the results that you have right now. It will also it's part of de-risking experiments. So you would take that data and maybe run another experiment that validates the previous experiment, and then you can take that data and share it with the marketing team, with the product team, and tell them like, hey, it works. We've got data that shows that it works. But I would say if it's a quick win, if it's, let's say, relocating the call to action button to above the fold, then I don't think more than 2 weeks, and also depends on the traffic and so many other factors. But all else, all things being considered, it's it shouldn't take more than 2 weeks.
Yeah, and there's also so many variables. You have to see how many people were exposed to the referral program. Like, if did you create an email marketing campaign to promote it? If yes, how many people saw that email? How many people clicked in? How many people opt in, and so on? And based on the amount of people who saw it, you can start to get an idea if it's working or not. So you can reach statistical significance. But yeah, on average, with experimentation, as Al mentioned, shouldn't take you more than 2 to 3 weeks. But it depends on how big the audience is. If you have a very small audience, it's going to take longer for sure. But as a rule of thumb, I would say 2 or 3 weeks.
Nice. Okay. And so for referral programs, is it I guess all the big case studies are from like venture-backed startups that have millions in the bank, like the Dropbox case studies and all those super popular stuff.
Yeah.
And it worked great for them. Do you think smaller startups can have similar success with referral programs?
Dropbox was a small company back then, when Sean Ellis created or ran that referral program for them, and that was the reason that they were able to compete with the likes of OneDrive and Google Drive at the time, and that's why they are the company that they are today. So yes, absolutely. Start with that idea, run that experiment, and you never know, it would probably give you sometimes like the biggest win that you've ever seen.
100% good work for startups. Just make sure that you're offering the right incentive. So talk to your customers, tell them like, hey, what would you want? This is something that Hotjar did. They asked them like, hey, what do you want as a price if you refer someone? And they asked for hoodies. So they gave them hoodies. So yeah, make sure that you talk to your customers when you're building this referral program. And if they get an incentive that they would love to have, there's a higher chance they can end up, opting in and starting to recommend it to other friends. That's one. And two, also make sure they have product market fit before you do any experiment as a startup. Because if you don't have it, then it doesn't matter how many experiments, how big your growth mindset is, how big the incentive is, people will not opt in because you don't have that product market fit yet. So that's step number one before doing anything, not just
Okay.
referrals. Yeah.
All right. Now you said steps. So could you go over how you would plan like the referral program? Where do you start thinking about it? How do you think of rewards? Or like what's the like when you have to come up with a referral program? How do you strategy? How do you strategize everything?
Yeah, like first thing you have to decide like what's the type of the referral program. Is it just two-sided incentives, one-sided? Is it gonna be more gamified? Do we have a leaderboard? Do we have the budget to give them like milestone prizes? So if you refer 5 people, you get this, then you get that. So you have to look at your profit margins to see like does it make sense to offer this big of an incentive? I would say step number one is deciding on the type of the referral program. Step number two, ask the customers what they would like to have as an incentive, as a prize. And then step number three, find the right tool to get started. And step number four, brainstorm ideas on how to promote it. So we have the referral program, we have the prize in mind. Okay, how do we make sure that our audience are aware that this is what we have to offer? Do we do email marketing? Do we do focus on social media, paid ads? Do we make sure it's very prominent on the website? So this is a very important part. And then you design the experiment as we teach in our courses. What will you measure to make sure this works or not? What could prevent you from launching it? What's the testing duration? What's your hypothesis? What's your success criteria? When everything is said and done, you launch it. Yeah.
I would just, I absolutely agree with all of that. Also, all the questions that Tariq just mentioned will help you validate the data that you have in your persona template. So I would just go a step back and check the persona template, make sure that everything is in order when it comes to the needs and goals of your persona, who they are, where do they hang out, so you can know where to promote that or that referral program, what's their behavior like, what type of personality they have, and then you'll be able to gather all that info, whether that's info that you already have or that you want to ask them for, and then you get to decide step by step on yeah, all the things that Tariq just mentioned.
Okay. And are you guys familiar with wait lists for pre-launch marketing? So
Yeah.
perhaps you know the Robin Hood story.
Yeah,
Um,
Motion AI now.
Yeah, Notion AI also did.
exactly.
Yeah, I was, I think, 300,000 in line when
Hmm.
I on the wait list, and I can skip the queue or yeah, get it sooner if I refer more people. So I
Exactly.
think that also worked for them.
Hmm. Have you ever thought about this kind of campaigns, like when how long before the launch companies should create such a thing, or are you mostly bothered with after product market fit referral programs?
No, you can do it to test if you're gonna build the product in the first place. So of course, if you have a product in place like Notion AI and Robinhood, then you can already do a wait list to hype up the product launch. And in advance, you would know which marketing channel works best for you because you're promoting this wait list using Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads. You're doing different experiments. So when you launch and you're live, now you have data beforehand on what worked already with the waiting list campaign, right? But if you have an idea for a product, for example, and you wanna launch it in the market, but you're not sure yet if it's time to invest that time and money to basically go all in and create it, you can create a landing page, a wait list. You explain your idea, you explain your value proposition, and then you start to promote, ads, send traffic to it, and see how many people join the wait list. If it's lots of people, then now you have a high confidence that this could work, and now you can build an MVP, for example. So I think at GrowthTribe during the pandemic, we had only offline courses and we switched online. So we had to create more courses, for our portfolio. So we had different courses, different ideas, UX, Python, programming, leadership, you name it. But we couldn't invest money to hire a trainer, build the curriculum, spend time to really build this. So we did 4 or 5 landing pages with a waiting list. Would you take this course, yes or no? And then after a while, we looked at the data. Many people joined the UX course waiting list. So now we hired a trainer, we built the course, and now if you go to our website, it's part of our curriculum.
Oh,
So you can do it to, validate an idea that you might have in the future. Or if you're launching and you have the product ready, you know in advance what's working for you experiment-wise because you're experimenting with the product launch campaigns, I would say.
Very good, very good, you guys. Very smart.
Yeah.
Before investing straight away to new courses.
De-risk it. Yeah, that's part of growth marketing. De-risk your assumption before
Yeah.
you go all in, you know?
Yeah, prioritize. It's part of the experimentation process as well. It's really important.
Hmm. And now I'm gonna wrap it up slowly. In terms of mistakes, referral programs, what would you say like people should watch out for when building a referral campaign?
Uh, Watch out for the incentives that you're offering, because this also depends on your persona. That's why they call me the fundamentals guy. Like, always go back to check your persona and see exactly what they need or don't. Because if you offer an incentive that is just like a one-time incentive, some people will just use that and then get the incentive and never look at your product again. So just make sure that the incentive that you're offering will help with retention as well. Yeah, it's not just because of that incentive that they're sharing the word.
Hmm.
Yeah, 100%.
Hmm.
That's the main thing that I've seen throughout my experience.
And also just analyze what's working, what's not working. So you might see that many people are joining the referral program, but maybe nobody is actually ending up, you know, taking their offer and joining joining our course, for example, or buying your product. So what's the problem here? Like, why the people are joining in, but they're not referring anyone? So you have to also give them the tools they need to refer you. So you can have a media kit, for example. You can give them their own unique link to track something. You can keep remind them of the prizes. So you have to analyze your campaign as it goes live. Like, okay, what do I need to improve? The messaging. I need to make it easy for them to refer media kit, as I mentioned. So all of these stuff. So break down your referral program into small stages and analyze what's going wrong, what's going right, and fix it.
Awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
And are there any companies or like brands that you use now yourselves that you wish they had a referral program, or or perhaps they could really use one? Anything that you've used lately?
Usually, I don't join referral programs, to be honest. But companies that would use one.
I like Nothing comes to mind at the moment.
They probably have, but I haven't checked their website, you know, properly.
I
Yeah.
see. So the apps you recommend to other people are mostly organic. Like you don't, you're not incentivized to recommend.
The only reason we start with organic is because like we just want to ask everyone to focus on the quality of the product. That's it. But referral programs, of course, are part of the referral stage. So it is an important uh, factor.
Do swap fits have a referral program?
Probably.
Because I have so many friends, like expats who join, you know, who come to Netherlands, and I would recommend swap fits. That would be nice if I can
Yeah,
for a program. I'm not sure
Uh,
that they have. I don't know.
Yeah, like I can give an example on a newsletter that I've
Yeah.
been sharing a lot lately. It's called Stacked Marketer. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but I use the referral link that they've given me to recommend that newsletter to mostly all of the people that are taking our courses, because that's a place or a newsletter that helps you stay up to date with all the things that are happening in the industry. So, and their incentives are like they're nothing crazy. They're like I got a mug, and then I got a hoodie, and then like the standard stuff. But it's a referral program that works also because of the quality of the newsletter. So yes, the small incentive is nice. I'm looking forward. Like the main prize after 1,000 referrals is a trip to Vienna, which is something that I'm looking forward to, definitely. But all in all, I am sharing um, the word because of the quality of that newsletter. And it's not just because of the incentives, of course.
hmm.
So they both go hand in hand.
Yeah. But I would like recommend also like NGOs, of course, like they need to find ways to increase donations. So I've seen so many NGOs websites. Of course, they can be fixed, but they don't focus on you know, sharing their cause, sharing, you know, their website with other people, because they have a good cause and you want to donate more. So they don't give you, anything to share their website or do something with their donations.
Yeah.
I don't want an incentive, of course, for sharing donations, but it's more about organic here. Like, I think NGOs can do a better job increasing organic virality for sure. How, I'm not sure, depends, of course, on the cause, but I would say this is one area or one industry I would think that would need to focus on organic virality.
Awesome. Yeah, that's very. You don't really hear about it in marketing discussions, but yeah, I guess NGOs could really. Well, they still sell some sort of like belief, an idea, a product. So I guess they also need marketing.
Yeah, of
it's
course. Yeah, for sure.
Everything needs marketing, 100%.
Exactly. All right. Well, that was all the things that I wanted to ask you guys. I don't have anything else. Thanks a lot for your time, and I'm gonna stop the recording now.
Awesome. Thanks for having us, man.
Thanks.